Hi, I'm Rebecca Valcarcel, and I can help you write a great college application essay. First of all, relax. You don't have to write the best essay ever written by any 18-year-old high school graduate in the world. You need to relax so that you can let your personality show through, so that you can not freeze up with anxiety and intimidation. All right, so calmly look at the prompt that you're supposed to write from. Every college and university provides some kind of statement that tells you what they want you to write. And you'll need to follow those directions. If they say 500 words, you will not impress them if you write 540 words. They will simply say, well, this person doesn't know how to be concise and follow directions. So stick to the word count and read that prompt. Sometimes you'll have a choice of prompt. Pick the one that grabs you and go with it. A lot of times these will be autobiographical narratives that you're being asked to write. And that means it's a true story about you. And that's great because you're an expert on you. You have a chance to reveal something about yourself, which is good because a college application essay should reveal your character and your personality. They want to get to know you a little bit, as well as to see that you're a competent writer. All right, so I have a list of criteria or questions that you can ask yourself, and I will show you how to go find that piece of paper so that you can print it out. But right now, let me talk through some of those main points. First of all, like I said, follow the prompt, do follow directions, whatever they are. Secondly, inject your voice. Voice means choosing words that have some personality and some flavor instead of being really bland or colorless. A lot of college application essays read all pretty much the same. You want to stand out. You don't want to appear just flavorless, bland. So, how are you going to do that? Well, you can choose juicy words. So instead of saying, I went to the store, a word like went, you can change to make it more flavorful. Now don't go too far and say, oh, I rolled into the store, you know what I mean? Okay, that's too informal for this occasion. Informal language has a place on the telephone, on Facebook, but here you need something up a little bit. So what you're aiming for is a professional voice that's also friendly and that's genuine. Now, you don't want to overshoot and make the voice overly scholastic and using lots of complicated words, because then the committee will just think, oh, this person is trying to show off with language and show how smart they are. And you may end up even using a big word wrong, and then you'll look even worse. So don't use words you don't know. Don't get out the thesaurus. Just be professional, be friendly, but avoid the low slang. Okay, next. Think about the content of this essay. If you can come up with an unusual event to tell about, that would be good, because again, it helps you stand out from all the piles of other essays that this application committee will read. Now, you may not have that weird a life. You may not feel that things that have happened to you have been very unusual. Well, that's fine, because your perspective on the relatively normal things that have happened to you might be unusual. So if you have an interesting perspective to show and to present, then that can make a good essay too. Also, if you have an interesting voice, interesting take on it, maybe put some humor, that's allowed, and then the way you tell it will be just as engaging, even if the actual incident you're telling is not all that strange or unusual. There are plenty of comics who have made wonderful material from everyday events. Things like parenting or commuting to work can become really great material in the hands of a good writer, a good comedian. So your job is to find the best material you can from your life. But even if it's not, highly strange or unusual, that's okay, because you're going to do something with it. You're going to shape the material to be interesting. Your unique perspective will show, and your unique wording will create interest, even in a relatively, normal situation that you're telling about. Now, some essays don't ask you to write about your life, and they want you to make a case or to propose a solution, sometimes take a position on an issue. And in that case, too, you want to show that your perspective is unusual or interesting or well-reasoned. You want to come across as rational and intelligent. And again, your tone needs to be professional. You do not want to rant or to sound like you're all worked up. You want to sound energetic, but not like off the deep end. Okay, so that's some help with your content. Now let's talk about your actual language. You've got to use strong verbs. Strong verbs are like raced is stronger than went. Went is pretty, flabby verb. Same thing with is. If I want to say she is smart, it would be better to say something like, her intelligence showed when she did such and such, using examples. All right, so you want to use strong verbs. Another thing is you want to use specific nouns. So instead of just my car, why not name the car? My Jaguar, my beat up Hyundai. That is more vivid and more interesting for the reader. It gives the reader something to picture in his or her mind. So strong verbs, specific nouns. Vary your sentences. Make some of them short, some of them long. Some of your sentences should start with introductory phrases. You want some rhythm in the flow of the language. To really hear the rhythm, listen to it out loud. Read the essay to yourself, read it to a friend, read it to your mom, read it into a recorder and play it back for yourself. But listen to it and try to put some musicality in the phrases. And if you're not sure how to be musical, just vary the sentence length. Don't make them all short or all long. Make some variety. Okay, what else can I tell you? Nouns, verbs, sentence length. Put an interesting title at the top. Do not put college essay, college application essay. No. And do not use their prompt as your title either. Make a unique, interesting title, a title that sums up your point or that asks a question. Make a title that gets attention and makes the reader curious about wanting to read what you wrote. Okay, here's a mistake that a lot of people make in writing these essays. Often the first sentence will have some grand generalization that includes phrases like, in human history, blah, 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 or in all the world, or something like, in the history of mankind or humankind. Do not use those vague generalities as a starting point. Instead, make your very first sentence a specific. Don't make it a generality. Make it specific. Bring us right into a scene or right into some particular perspective. Don't start with over the course of time and human events and blah, blah, blah. Trust me, that sentence looks really amateurish. Another thing that looks amateurish is to ask a lot of questions. So if you have, and shouldn't we be doing something about this? No. Instead, flip it into a sentence that says, we should be doing something about this. So if you have more than one question in that 500-word essay, get rid of the rest. Just one is your limit, okay? Even one is not my favorite, but if you really need one, okay, no more than one. Speaking of one, do not string adjectives together, as in the tall, blonde teacher. We just need the tall teacher. In fact, why do we even care about her size anyway if it's a teacher? But my preference is that you use such interesting nouns that you don't even need a bunch of adjectives describing this noun. Instead, if you can't come up with a great noun, put one adjective, but not whole chains of adjectives. And it just makes it seem like you're lazy and you haven't really chosen the most appropriate one. So one adjective, if that. Okay. One last tip, do not put dictionary definitions in your essay. You will hear even professionals making speeches that refer to dictionary definitions, but it makes it seem like you had nowhere to begin this essay except at the dictionary. So cut that, start with something more specific, more interesting, Put us in your shoes somehow. Put us in your mind. If it's a narrative that tells a story, put us in the scene. Bring us right into the room you're in or the treehouse you're in or whatever it is. Don't start with the dictionary. Okay, would you like me to give you critique on your college application essay? I can do that. You can go to a website called writersed.com and find a way to get in touch with me and see what my rates are, and I will look at your college application essay and give you my personal advice on how to make it better. Also, I have a free handout on that same website, and I'll provide the link in the description of the video. All right, good luck with your college application essay.